Pacers are going to have to try to find that old magic, because they got to do something different than they did in Game 2, because Game 2 was an absolute shellacking by the MVP and the Oklahoma City Thunder, as the Oklahoma City Thunder win by a 22-point margin. It seemed like it was much more, though. Honestly, there were parts of that game to where it just looked like this wasn't going to be there was no comeback coming for the Pacers. Not this game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is as good as advertised. He is the deserving person for the MVP. I know Jokic had an amazing year and a historic year and probably should have got it, but just the way this Thunder team plays, you can tell they're not going to be able to do this without a Shai.
No, SGA is multiple and different that the Thunder can be. It's still very SGA centric, and we talked about this the other day. SGA has the most points through 2 games of an NBA Finals in their career of any player of all time. He's got 72 points through his first 2 games. Beyond that, he has an NBA playoff record 9 straight. I think it ties Wilt or Russell. I can't remember who it was. 9 straight playoff games with 30 or more points. Like he gets buckets.
No, he gets buckets.
Don't get it twisted. He is a certified bucket getting machine
on a historical kind of level too. His first 2 games in the NBA Finals. Again, I think only Jordan and somebody else have like a higher score. Allen Iverson,
I think
have
those
a
2
higher scoring average than him at this point. So he's really out there getting buckets, and I love Shai because he defies what the NBA says it is right now. Right, you have to be a 3-point shooting team. You win by not necessarily a young team can win. Like all these things that we've been told doesn't work in basketball. Shai and OKC is doing.
He's more of a George Gervin, Julius Irving, he's a superstar, kind of a throwback, the way he plays.
Right.
It's much more in the mid-post, mid-range, long paint area of which the analytics era has kind of done away with a ton
can't do
of.
that anymore.
But that's what also makes him, for me,
it's a throwback.
You take the free throw merchant stuff out of it, which he does it and I don't like it, and he doesn't need to do it. Like he can generate free throws on his own without doing the throw your head back like you got shot by a 12 gauge stuff. But his footwork is probably the best in the NBA. His body control and balance, it's basically him and Luka and Jalen Brunson, who are like the guys who have otherworldly body control and balance in that in between area. And it is interesting because he's not Steph out there, jacking up threes. And he's not even KD where he's just, shooting 50% on 18-foot mid-range pull-ups. He's getting to that 10 to 14-foot range, the 8 to 14-foot range, and just putting your defense in pretzels because it's the place that you want to help to, but that's what the Thunder want to thrive on. They want you to overhelp on SGA and allow the other guys who can't necessarily create on their own to feast off that. Now, he's not a creator like Halliburton who can, Hallie's the kind of guy who can get you 15 plus assists. Like it's just he's a natural creator, whether it be angles or setting you up with a drive one way or a lean this way. Hallie's much more of a Nash, Chris Paul type of like bend your defense a certain way to get something, where SGA is like, I'm going to take what you give me, and if you overhelp, I'm just going to make the simple play. And look, so many people think that making the simple play in the NBA is easy. It's not. It's genuinely not. That's why you don't see guys making the simple play all that often, because it's the NBA. These guys are so big, so fast, so good that they want to take. They can take that away so easily.
Which is why I always covet a player like LeBron James, who just constantly
makes everything easy,
makes the right play. People like to knock on him because he would pass up a game-winning shot to give somebody else
a better shot,
an opportunity to make a better shot. I think that's the mark of somebody with high basketball IQ. That's exactly what Shai has. Now, I think Halliburton has that, but to maybe a lesser degree right now. I think where Halliburton is great at, he's not the short scorer that Shai is, clearly. But I think he does as good, if not a better job, getting everybody else involved.
Yes.
Like I think for this OKC squad, it's easy to get a guy like Jalen Williams involved. He can get his own bucket if he wants to. It's easier to get a guy like Chet involved who can get his own bucket. And then on the bench, you got guys like
Wiggins, Isaiah Joe, Caruso.
He was killing me in 2K the other day, and I was getting so frustrated. Wiggins, I could not guard him. My 2K MP could not guard this fool for nothing, and he was giving me buckets. But in real life, he can come off the bench and give you 15, 16 quick points. And when you have a bunch of guys on your team like that, that can help out your superstar. And I think you're in a great position right now if you're OKC. You're playing loose, and really you've won all but 2 seconds of a game in the flats.
Less than that. The Oklahoma City Thunder in that game, in a 48-minute game, led for 47 minutes and 59.7 seconds.
So you mean for 1 point whatever seconds?
0.3 seconds.
0.3 seconds is the
only
time
lead that the Pacers had in the game.
Have had in the series, at this point. And so they need to figure out that magic. I don't know how it's going to happen. There's not going to be a breakdown like there was with Cleveland with this OKC team. There's not going to be a breakdown.
Yeah, you're not going
to run into some injuries like you did with Milwaukee right now. Like, this is a well-conditioned team. The only injury that, and I'm knocking on wood because you don't want to see one from anybody, but the only one that may be something that people could see would potentially be Chet, because Chet has the tendency to get dinged up. But Game 3 is in Indianapolis. The Pacers have already done their job, if we're being honest. We're kind of knocking on them today, but they already stole home court.
Doesn't matter what the scores are in games. It's
Doesn't
1-1.
matter. Doesn't matter.
Here's the thing. You can talk about, well, the Thunder did what they're supposed to do, and they had a blowout game. And I'm like, yeah, but you were still sitting there in the fourth quarter when it got down to 8, when it got down to 7. You're like, uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Here they come. Like, this is what they like. That's what this Pacers team is built to do. It doesn't matter what your lead is unless it gets, to 30.
Until it gets to zeros, yeah.
Like, they are a team that come in the final 5 minutes. If they've got it, 7, 8 points or less, be afraid, because it's not that they've done it once or they've done it twice or 3 times or 4 times. They've done it 7 times in these playoffs already. Like, they will come at your neck if the game is relatively close, and they are not afraid of that moment.
No.
And they're like, if you're the Pacers, I don't think they're going to, like, the game the Timberwolves got off the Thunder, they win by 40. I don't expect that to happen in the series to where OKC has a rollover game. But I also don't expect the Thunder to have necessarily the performance they had last game where, they were mostly in control of that game throughout. I think it's going to be in between kind of what we saw. And I think if that is the case, the Pacers have a chance literally every single night. And that's what I talked about coming into the series is everybody's talking about Thunder in 5 or a Thunder in an easy 6. And I'm like, you better take care of business then, because if you don't, you can't kill this team.
If you leave the door open,
they are going to come charging through it.
And listen, Tyrese Halliburton, and this team, for as much crap as they take, this is kind of what they do. Like, they rest in the cut for most of the game, and then all of a sudden they come back with this flurry that nobody really saw coming. And again, you've already done your job and stole game 1, and nobody saw that coming. And now you just got to go home, make sure you protect home court best you can. It's basically 0-0 now. Now, first team to win 3 games is going to win a championship. You have an opportunity to protect your home court at least in one of these games and try to make this a series. The Pacers did not play well in game 1. They were really bad in game 2.
Yeah.
But game 1 with the 19 turnovers in the first
half.
Oh,
God, it was just so sloppy. But even with that, they found a way to win.
They stuck around.
That's what I take from that game is like, well, the Thunder should have won that game. And I'm like, what happens if the Pacers take care of the ball?
Guess what? The Pacers haven't played well yet.
And that's the thing is like, if they go out and they play well in game 3, and let's say they win a game by 8, not a crazy number, like under 10, but like they have it under control in the final 2 minutes.
Listen,
what does the narrative now become if the Pacers win a game, not like running away, but comfortably?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden the series is 2-1, and you've gotten a game on the road. How tight do the Thunder come into game 4?
Listen, if there's anybody who can engineer a great upset in the NBA Finals, it's Rick Carlisle. And that staff, we've seen him do it before against an opponent that was supposed to be unbeatable.
Yep.
And he did the impossible and did that. So we'll see if Lightning can strike twice. That game is going to be tomorrow on ABC, I would assume at 5:30, which is when they all are. Yeah, so we'll see what's going on. Tyrese Halliburton has to show up